Hello once again. Welcome to another episode of Darth Tuba's Star Wars Unboxing Show. Check out all my information on where to subscribe, where to like, share, follow me on Twitter, check me out on Instagram, my Darth Tuba Star Wars Unboxing page on Facebook. Spread the word about what we're doing over here. So, got a little bit of old and a little bit of new. Or I should say newish. We have starting with the new, we have the Star Wars Black Series Lando Calrissian. Okay, this is one of the last ones that have come out more recently prior to the 40th anniversary collection. And we have, in a completely different thing, the Micro Machines Action Fleet Solar Sailor, Count Dooku Solar Sailor from Star Wars Episode 2 Attack of the Clones. So a nice 15-year gap between two items. Okay, so why don't we get started? I think we're going to start with the old one. Okay. And part of the reason for this, as I said in many times on these episodes, is that we are looking for more room and these types of things. You can see the item inside the box. While it's a very nice display, it's got this nice trapezoidal shape. It's really cool. In all honesty, it's taking up a lot more room than the actual piece itself with its little stand. So that's why we have to sacrifice, and that is what we are doing. So. Episode 2 was a much more conservative release of toys than Episode 1, but there were still a lot of toys, don't get me wrong. When Episode 1 came out in 1999, there was literally a frenzy of toys, and not just toys, but everything under the sun. Every kind of product, every kind of any kind of licensing you can imagine, and Lucasfilm was pretty aggressive with it. And the hype was great. Some would say that it was overhyped. Being a Star Wars fan, I was always of the opinion that, you know what, I'd rather have more out there than nothing out there. Because having more out there, you can always pick and choose. And then, businesses and companies will be able to make their determination on what they want to move forward with. But if you have nothing out there, then you're not appealing to anybody. So the way I see it is, if you don't like it, don't buy it. And but I do recognize that even with that attitude, Episode 1 in 1999 was absolutely insane. There was just so much out there, so much. It was even high-end collectors like Steve Sansweet, who now runs Rancho Obi-Wan in California. Even he was a little bit overwhelmed. So when a guy like that gets overwhelmed, you can imagine what the rest of us felt like. So it was a challenging time, because you really did have to pick and choose what you would want to have happen. I don't know if that was supposed to happen or not. Oh, it looks like it was. Okay. I will take it back in a second. Got those old kind of cable tie business, which is always a challenge. But anyway, I think. Oh, I see. Maybe not. Maybe. Folks, I don't be the one to be the bearer of bad news, but this might have broken. I'm not sure. Well, that looks about right. Okay. No, that's right. Okay. Okay. And then we have our the standard put these down over here. What I call the standard Action Fleet stand, or Micro Machine stand. They came up with some pretty cool items over the years. Oh, there we go. You know what? I wonder. No, it's supposed to be that way. This is odd. It has a way to I hate to say this, folks, but I'm having a hard time figuring out what this way is supposed to be. And the reason I say that is because I feel as though it's supposed to go this way. Oh, wait. Oh, folks. I'm going to have to resort to looking at the picture on the back and seeing what we have here, but that's not really helping me too much. Well, this, because here's the thing, and I'll just explain. Like, it should... Well, you know what, though? Now that I look about it, it doesn't really have any good way, so I think maybe we're going to go with our original way of... Yeah. I'm going to go with our original way of doing it, just because it doesn't look like there's any other way. I'm going to have to... Yeah, so... Oh, this is interesting. It has one... Oh, man, this might be part of the problem. Let's take a look here. It's got one more twist tie I didn't see. This, of course, the Solar Sailor is what Count Dooku was piloting at the end of Episode 2 with his droid when he was making his escape. Why do all the bad guys always escape? You know, if they know they're right, or if they believe they're right, why do they do that? I never got that. All right, I see. So you can, like, I don't think you can really do much with it, but looks like the these wings can open up a little bit. Okay, and then you have your thing. Now, the thing that I was confused about is that this looks like the back. If you recall, they're kind of piloting in the front here, and the sail kind of comes out the back. Although I could be wrong. It could be, maybe it is. No, I think I'm wrong. I think it's supposed to be like that. I thought this was actually, I'm thinking like a parachute because that's what it looks like. But no, it is actually something that powers it, so it needs to be up front like that. So that makes sense. All right. So we have the Solar Sailor. Would have liked to have seen a little more of this. This is one of those things that was just in the story briefly. Haven't seen too much of it elsewhere, although I don't read the comics, so maybe it's been featured more there, either in Legend series or more recently. But there you go, Solar Sailor. I'll find a nice place for it up behind me on the wall. Okay, let's move him off to the side. And next up, we have the Baron Administrator Lando Calrissian. Hello, what have we here? The coolest of the cool. And I love how they give him his gold cape, or his gold-lined cape. Looks like he's not one of those dudes with multiple hands or anything like that. He didn't need much. Okay, he basically was you know, he was weaponless until he kind of switched sides. And there he had. Now you can take his cape off. Oh, his cape looks like it has a secondary cape. Interesting. So what I'm going to do, looks like I'm going to put, he's got the multiple points of articulation. So I think I'm going to, doesn't look like he has a place to hang his little comm link. The comm link, of course. Oh, Doctor Who fans will be pleased. It kind of looks like a sonic screwdriver. Shh, don't tell anybody. You always wonder about, you know, if these things, if there's some unintentional crossovers with, you know, not so much in the story, but with, you know, props or sets or set pieces. One of the things I like about the, for the most part, I like about the Black Series 6-inch is that if they're going to be holding a weapon, Hasbro kind of gave them a little flexibility in their fingers. So you can bend them open, like place the weapon in, and then it kind of fold back in. And it even has a trigger finger. Well, it would be the right hand, but it would even have a trigger finger that kind of, you can manipulate the finger into it. So that's really cool. Now, of course, when he's walking around with his gun and his communicator, he is capeless. But you can't have Lando without his cape. I'm sorry. So you got to give him his due. So we'll change up the story a little bit and put him out there with a cape. There it goes. You truly belong with us among the clouds. Whoop! Ah! Except It's like when Chewie knocked him out. He's only a Wookiee. Come on, Lando. All right. As far as his facial likeness, it's pretty good. These days with the scanning technology and the things they've been able to do with the figures, you're not having too many issues with sculpts. At least not with 6-inch. 3 and 3/4 inch. Sometimes you can have some, a little bit of an issue with sculpting, but with the 6-inch and beyond, it's not as much of an issue. So, Lando Calrissian, Baron and Administrator Calrissian from Cloud City, and in a completely different episode of a completely different movie, you have the Solar Sailor from Attack of the Clones. Empire Strikes Back, Attack of the Clones. 2 great movies for different reasons. Some, like to stretch towards the prequel side. That's the prequel side. Some prefer the original trilogy. My personal opinion is any Star Wars is better than no Star Wars. I loved each movie for different reasons, and I do understand how Empire Strikes Back is considered, from a critical standpoint, to be the best Star Wars movie that's ever come out, although I've heard some people argue that Rogue One is kind of falling into a similar vein, similar category. I don't agree with that on a personal level. I think it's an awesome movie. I think it was fantastic to see a movie that could transcend the original movie and bring the characters in a new direction, move them forward. Add new characters like this one, and I have nothing but respect and love for that movie. But in my own personal preference, if I'm sitting around one night and want to watch a movie, Empire Strikes Back isn't always the first one that I would put out. If I was watching 2 movies, it would most likely be the second. But the first one, I don't know. I go back and forth. There are days where I never really feel like an Empire Strikes Back. I don't know why. It has to be a really rare occasion. I think, honestly, if it's snowing out, maybe that's why, because of Hoth. But I don't know. And I don't hate it at all. I love Yoda. I love the music for it. It's probably the best John Williams score of all the movies. In my opinion, there's a lot that I love about it. But would I say it's the best? I just think it's dark, and people like dark. Some people prefer that dark, more brooding kind of idea. To see our heroes get their butts kicked a lot and, constantly over and over. I think as a 10-year-old when I saw it, I just expected it. I was so engrossed with it, and this is saying something for the movie. I was so engrossed in it that when the credits hit, I thought we were only halfway done, because I wasn't used to the good guys not really winning. Luke lost his hand, found out Vader might be his father. It was just Han and Carbonite. Let's forget about that. That's crazy. So as a 10-year-old, I was like, the credits came and I pulled the Darth Vader. No, because we had to wait 3 years and we had no internet and we had no means of discussing this unless we were with our friends. So I guess for that I hold a tiny itsy bitsy little grudge or something in the back of my mind, and therefore I feel like, okay, it's good. It's a great movie. It's an awesome movie. Is it the best movie? I don't know. My mind always goes to Return of the Jedi for that, because it just resolved everything. But I respect people's opinions, and people want to disagree, and that's all good, and that's fine. I have no argument for people that want to say Empire is their favorite movie. It was just my own personal journey. Doesn't lead me down that same path. And I, for one, am a big fan of the Episode 2 prequel movie. I loved the last 45 minutes especially. I'll admit that the romance part of it never seem to quite gel, although then I sometimes wonder if maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that needed to be awkward to kind of move the character forward. One could argue, not to sound like an apologist, but I did love that ending. The whole Clone Wars, to see an actual Star Wars happen in the movie Star Wars for the first time, and it was pretty incredible. And the thought of the Clone Wars actually being the good guys, the Stormtrooper-like folks being the good guys to start off, made you really think and question, what's going to happen next? So, anyway. So, that'll do it for this episode of Darth Tuba Star Wars Unboxing Show. Be sure to check out all my other videos. Like, subscribe, share. Check out me on Twitter. Check out me on Instagram. Check out me on my Darth Tuba Star Wars Unboxing page. Email me if you have any questions or things you want to see open. And thank you very much. And may the Force be with you.